Okay, guys, what's up? OCD Mikey, Hi-Fi Guy here, welcoming you for another show, the OCD Mikey Show, or the Mikey Show. And what we're talking about today, this segment is Audio Autopsy, where we go inside gear and we look inside, and basically the reason is to try and determine value. Let's make a judgment call on the price, and if we see anything that is reminiscent of an exotic with something that carries an exotic price. Okay, so because of all this crap that's happened with audio research recently, I decided to take a look at the brand and see maybe why would they be in trouble. And because I ignore audio research, I ignore most of the mainstream hi-fi brands, okay, because I think they're overfared and they're overpumped and they're not a value, and I think they once used to be great and they're just not so great anymore. The same goes for Macintosh, the same audio research, Focal, Sonus Faber, a lot of these brands, and whatever. This is my damn opinion, okay? And again, I'm just another jackass with an opinion. So who cares? I can talk about my opinion. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking at the Audio Research Ref 750. This is the top of the line. Okay, so this is the most exotic offering Audio Research makes. This is their leading edge. This is their cutting edge. This is the bad boy. This is the one that kicks everything's ass, okay? It's $85,000 a pair for these. Each one is $42,500, okay? $42,500 for what you're looking at right here. Okay, so let me look. There's a silver one. I'm going to zoom in on this so we can see it a little closer. And we look at the meters. Are those things anything special? No, not really. It's just a regular VU meter. We've got a couple buttons on the front, a couple lights, a couple handles that are made out of aluminum. We've got the name. We've got one CNC routed line that makes a very simple design. This is a basic-ass faceplate, okay? It's brushed aluminum. This is basic as it gets, okay, except for the meters. And it's stuck onto a chassis. Now, let's reverse out of this, and let's look at the chassis, okay? Here we go, okay? First of all, what we notice if we look up here in the corner is, you see this line here? Okay, and then this rounded edge on the metal right there? Okay, what that means is this is bent sheet metal. This is stamped sheet metal. This is the cheapest way, this is the most basic way that you build something. You stamp out your parts on a sheet metal and a press brake. You know, you make these things. You have these little PEM nuts, they're called, pressed into the holes that you drill. Okay, so this is not exotic design at all. This is not exotic chassis. You want to see exotic chassis, look at Jeff Rowland. This is not exotic chassis, okay? This is aluminum extrusion right here that's on the top that holds this PCB, which is screwed to this extrusion. These are like the support braces, if you will. And we've got 21 friggin' tubes on this beast, okay? 21 tubes. They're KT150s. I wonder how much KT150s are. I think they're like, let's see, $169.95 each. Okay, so we could probably say 150 each. Okay, so if we take, what do we take? 20, let's see, out of that 21, 16, so 19 of them are KT. So 19 times 150, let's say we get a break. 2850 times 2 equals, so we're looking at almost $6,000 roughly. Now, if you send it into Audio Research, who knows? It could be more if you buy them from them. I don't know. But if you go buy the own tubes, you do it yourself, you're going to be roughly $6K in to retube this beast. What's the first thing I noticed on this puppy? Okay, again, remember, we're looking at a $42,500 chassis, okay, an amplifier. What we've got here is a PC board, okay, all the way running across. What we've got is we've got 16, 17, 18 tubes on top, soldered into tube sockets onto a board. Okay, what does that mean? That means we got little ass solder tabs that go through holes in the PC board that solder to a board, and every time we press a tube down, we flex the board. Okay, we flex the board, we flex the solder joints, we flex the traces, we flex it, okay? And over time, we're going to flex this back and forth, flex those solder joints. Who knows? This board does not look extra thick. So that is not something I want to see. That is not exotic build quality. This is how Chinese amps are made. They just solder tube sockets right onto the PC board. They don't give a shit. Okay? So, to me, I'm not going to be happy if I paid anywhere near this price and I look in and I see the tube sockets are stuck on a board. I'm going to feel gypped, okay? I'm going to be like, wow, they didn't even give me exotic chassis. They didn't even give me tube sockets that are mounted onto a metal plate that have wires running off them. It's all a PC board. It's not even point to point. At 80 grand, 85 grand, forget about it. You can forget about it. So let's look a little bit more. So now we go to the second level. We got a nest of wires flying down. We go to the second level. This is a voltage regulation stage we have right here. Okay, so it's part of the power supply. Right down here, we've got the main power supply. We've got the power transformer here. We've got the output transformer here. Okay, and we've got a filter bank, a filter bank with capacitors that are Nishikon, made in Japan, presumably. They might be made in China. I'm not sure if Nishikon is all still made in Japan. But these are probably about the size of Class D batteries, or size D, whatever, D cell batteries, right? And then we got two smaller ones up front, okay? These are film and foil. These are rel caps, most likely. These look oval, so they're probably multi-cap, which are made in USA, polypropylene, film and foil. Might be polystyrene. These are good capacitors, okay? These are regular grade, industrial, computer grade cap. Well, let's see. Are they 85? They're 105. So they're computer grade caps. They're good. They're for a higher temp. Okay. So this thing's pretty basic. We come down here. We can see holes and PEM nuts stamped into this stamped sheet metal chassis. You know, this is like a little tray down here. It's got some rubber feet on the bottom. We got some Cardus binding post out back. It's really nothing special. This is not what I would call an exotic build. It looks like an exotic build on the outside because it's so big and it's audio research. But man, when you get in and you start pulling it apart to question it, what the hell? This thing's 42.5 for this thing? I don't see anything worth the 42.5. I'll tell you what the story is. And this is... Excuse me, man. I'm sick. So here's the story that I see when I look at this. What I see is this. I see someone with a $30,000 pair of monoblocks. I see them saying, how the hell do we squeeze 15 more grand out of it, 20 grand more out of it? How do we get 50 grand for these $30,000 monoblocks? Got an idea. We'll set the price at 85 per pair, and we'll let the dealers discount them down to 50. Okay? They'll make 10 or 12 grand on it. They'll be fine. They can discount them to the customers. So what I see is a circle jerk. I see lack of integrity, and I see a joke, or not a joke, but like a hustle. Okay? This is something that's meant to look like a big shot exotic amp. There's nothing exotic about this. Okay? There's nothing exotic about this. Again, my opinion. Okay? And I'm just a jackass, okay? So, to me, in my opinion, nothing exotic about this, but boy, does it have an exotic price. 85 grand per pair, okay? But I don't think any of these ever sold for 85 grand. I think these things sell to people, and people only buy them because the dealers discount them at such a great rate. They discount them so deep that people are like, oh my God, it's such a good brand. And they compulsively buy, or they impulsively buy because of a discount. That's how I think this stuff is sold. And I think they completely know it. That's why they price it at a $30,000 pair of monos. They price it at 85 so the dealer can discount it, sell it for 50, cause an impulsive buy. The customer thinks they got a great deal, and then they believe they've got an exotic, and what do they have? They have a stamped sheet metal thing made in USA, using foreign parts, using some American parts. Again, just my opinion. I don't see anything worth 85 grand per pair in this at all, okay? God forbid you have to retube. Okay, so you ask yourself, or you say to me, well, Mikey, you know, you're really talking some shit about audio research. Now, look, I respect this brand, okay? I respect this brand because of its lineage in our U.S. history of hi-fi. That's why I respect it. I do not respect it based on this design, but I do respect the marquee, and I do respect the brand, okay? But this shows me what's happened to hi-fi that is what gives me resentment towards hi-fi is the fact that a well-known company is resting on their laurels, is resting on their reputation, and they're pulling off this kind of crap for 85 grand. Are you kidding me? What kind of dum-dums are you selling to, man? You know? I mean, evidently people that just don't give a shit about value, okay? Or they think they're getting value because an $85,000 pair of amp is discounted to 55 grand, but they're paying 55 grand for a damn $30,000 amp. Okay, and this is just my estimation. You say, well, Mikey, how do you come up with that? Well, I come up with that because I offer something that I think is better. What's my solution when my customers need big tube power from made in the United States? Here's my solution. My solution is not Audio Research. My solution is Manley, okay? Another American-made amplifier, tube amp, big power, pentode, push-pull. This is the same type of circuit. Push-pull, pentode, big power, tube amp, okay? Monoblock, 500 watts in this case. Now, if you need more than 500 watts, I think you got big problems, okay? The other ones are 750, but to me, that's a joke. Who needs more than 500? Who needs more than 300, okay? But we've got 500 right here. What do we have in here? We have 10 KT90s, okay? So let's see if we can find those. Okay, so they're half the cost of the other ones. They're half the cost. You got 10 of them. So it's going to cost you $839 per mono. So, you know, $850, $1,700 versus $6 grand if you're going to retube the whole amp. Okay? And that is the Manley right here. Neoclassic 500. This is what I sell. And guess how much they are? 20 grand a pair. Okay? The Audio Researches are more, they're 22. So the Audio Researches are 4 times the cost of these. For what? For an extra 250 watts that you're never going to use? For a bigger chassis? For what? For bragging rights? Because, dude, a Manley is in every way as good as Audio Research. In fact, I think it's a better product because it's a better value. To me, I can see the value of this Manley. The build is just about the same. Why is one 80 grand per pair and one is 20 grand per pair? I just don't see the reasoning, okay? And I hope you guys see this too. This is what makes me different than other dealers. I seek out, this is the only product I carry from Manley. Why? Because I'm not into lower powered tube, other things, whatever. And I know they have great headphone amp, they have all that stuff. But I have chosen this as, this is my big power vacuum tube, made in USA, push-pull, monoblock. This is my choice for that. And it's only 20 grand a pair. It's not $85,000 a pair. We look at the back. What do we have? 2 equally sized transformers. The power transformer is even bigger than the Manley, or bigger than the Audio Research. And look, we've got huge, big, giant soda can size capacitors, which sound better than the little guys. And people will say, well, the little ones are faster because you can discharge them quicker. Well, look, man, I've been around where they're testing this thing, where they're testing these things, and the big caps sound better. They're more expensive. They're harder to deal with. These are made in USA caps. These are not made in China or anywhere else. These are made in USA caps. This iron is made in USA as far as I know. I know the input transformer for this XLR is made in-house by Manley. Manley winds their own input transformers, and I don't know about their power or their output transformers, but I can tell you these things are huge. If we weigh the chassis of these, 4 pounds more on the Audio Research. For that bigger chassis, you get 4 extra pounds, but you also have, 9 extra tubes? Not 8 extra tubes. So I'm sure there's 4 pounds of difference. So this one, I think you get way more return per pound. You get more value per pound. It's worth more per pound, the Manley is. It's funny that the other ones are called shrimp and mahi and stuff like this because we can talk about it in price per pound. The Manley is definitely a better value, in my opinion. It's made in USA. They use these in recording studios, man. These are badass. Why do you think these have rack mounts? Because they're used in studios. These are used by professionals, okay, means they're accurate, okay? Here we can look at this. I think I have a close-up pic. Here's a top pic where you can see the tubes, okay, and the massive, look how much bigger the capacitors are than the vacuum tubes. And we go over to the audio research, and look how much smaller the capacitors are. This is the same kind of tube that's in the Manley. So these are bigger because they're KT150s. Manley has KT90s, but this is something that's comparable to a KT90. And look at how much smaller the caps are than the tube. Then we go over to the Manley, and look at how much bigger the caps are than the tube. These caps are more high performance. This is an exotic cap, in my opinion, compared to the Nishikans that are in and I know capacitors don't make everything, right? But, they took the care and the time to put two big-ass old pop cans in there. Tell you I'm from Minnesota when I call it a pop can, a soda can. We look into the Manley. Okay, the Manley also has what appears to be board-mounted tubes, which, I'm not a fan of. We can look at where these mounts are, where the holes are with the screws, and it looks like they've got one here, they've got one here, they've got one here. So if they put a lot of mounting screws here on the board, you can make it very stiff so that it doesn't flex. And I can't see from the audio research if it is that way. But look, if you're gonna, we'll get up closer. If you're going to, this is 20 grand. The other one's 80 grand. And does the build look much different? No, it doesn't. I might even say this is cleaner. Here are some Nishikan. Looks like we got a Nishikan over on this side. We've got the same film and foil caps. These are not REL. This one is, but these are audio caps. So it's a different polypropylene film and foil. We've got the power supply down here. It's a solid state regulation device, clearly. So we got a couple WEMA caps down here. We've got the multi-caps right here, which these look like multi-caps. Let's see. I can't tell if those look like multi-caps because they're oval. So those are probably multi-caps. Okay, so for 20 grand, you get the Manley. And we saw the back. We can't see the back of the audio research. So I just wanted to take that time and point out to you how there's differences of stuff. Now, do you hear about the Manley in all the magazines? No, you don't. Does Manley get out there and push their stuff and shove it in everybody's room at the shows and just try and push the shit out of it? No, she doesn't do that. Why? Because it's a brand of attraction. It's not a brand of promotion. I like to carry brands of attraction because the people that are in the know figure it out and they're attracted to it. Other brands are brands of promotion. Audio Research, Dan D'Agostino, I can go down the line telling you about these promoted, fluffed brands. And my whole feeling about the story with those brands is that they are overpriced in order to let the dealer discount them so he can still make a chunk of cash, and it can cause an impulsive sale to the buyer. And all the buyer talks about is what a great deal he got. And really, he paid 20-30% over what that amp is worth because of the lack of integrity in the pricing structure. Now, you look at this Manley 500 and you ask yourself, is there lack of integrity in the pricing structure here? I do not think so. This, to me, is a really well-priced piece of gear. It's 20 grand. It's got 10 tubes. It's got some big kick-ass American caps and some big transformers, some serious iron on here. This is a mofo, and it's 20K, 22K, Okay, for shits and giggles, we're going to go down to the 160-watt monoblock amplifiers, okay? So these are 160 watts, not 500 like the Manley. This actually looks closer to the Manley. It's got a perf top on it. It's got, this build is much more similar to, it's closer to the Manley, isn't it? Can you guys see? So we're going through, this one has 4 tubes, so a lot easier to retube with this. It's not showing us the inside. Okay, I'm trying to see if we can find somebody that shows us the inside of the Ref 160 just to get a better idea. It's got a fan on back. That's a bummer. I don't like electric fans on amps at all. It just means it's inefficient in its cooling, man. Figure out a better cooling scheme. But they use a fan. It's needed. So that's cool. It keeps it from overheating, but I don't want a fan on my amp. And the Ref 160 is $19,000 each. So what looks to be kind of more, it's not even the equivalent because the Manley's got, 10 tubes. This has 4 tubes. The Manley's way more powerful, has heavier iron and everything. So to me, this brand has faltered because it's a fluff brand. I think 19 grand a piece is overpriced. Again, this is double what the Manleys are. And it's only 150 watts. So it just goes to show that my assertion of the brand being overpriced and not delivering what it should for that money is it's pretty plain to see, okay? It's pretty plain to see. And I'm backing it up by showing you another brand and another amp that I sell right now, actually. Because I love Ivana and I love the Manley brand. It's killer shit. And these amps, they're not that crazy, man. It's a kick-ass American amp, but it's not that exotic, quite honestly. This is a basic push-pull pentode amplifier. There's nothing super exotic about it, so it shouldn't be priced super exotic. And Manley understands that, and they price this with integrity. So I applaud Ivana and her carrying this along and not joining the other people in trying to perpetrate gougery. And so you will be seeing a pair of these when I have some speakers that will go well with them. I got 3 new brands coming in, and you guys will know about them shortly. Anyways, so I just wanted to take this chance to show you the difference between what I consider a value and what I consider fluff. And just make a case for the fact that some purveyors, me, in this case, I seek out the value brands that have a value. And I would feel bad selling these to my clients at a price just because I know they can afford it. I'm not looking out for them at that point. I'm really stymieing their ass. Ha-ha. Got it. Got one on you. Ha-ha. No, I don't do that, man. My clients are my friends, and I hook my friends up, and I would never perpetrate some shit like this amp on them. Again, do I respect the brand? Yeah, Audio Research, been around, cool brand. Are they cool any longer? You know what I think is cool? I'll show you what I think is the coolest thing of Audio Research. So now that I've sufficiently kicked Audio Research in the balls for their top level stuff, I will show you my favorite piece, the coolest thing I've ever seen from Audio Research. And I think this was Trent's design. And congratulations, Trent. You are on the right tip with this design. This is badass, okay? This is freaking cool. This is an American-built amplifier built by Audio Research, a long-standing brand. It's got these cool Nixie tubes, whatever the hell those things are called. 50 watts per channel, using probably 4 KT88s. You can get all sorts of cool, fancy colors. And it's an integrated. You can put a damn DAC in it. You can put a phono module in it. You can put all this stuff. Is this made in USA? Yes, it's made in USA. And how much is it? It's even got a DAC section over here. $5,500. Okay? This is something I would sell. I would not sell probably any of the other Audio Research stuff, but this I would sell because this is kick-ass. This is a value. Okay? This is a great way to get into tubes for people. Handmade in Minnesota. $5,500. Let me double check and make sure I'm right on that. $5,500. You add a DAC, it's $1,000. You can actually add the DAC and the phono for $1,750. So look, you can have fully loaded for $7,250, including a DAC. I wonder how the DAC sounds. I have no idea. It's definitely not as good as a stand-alone DAC. But shit, $7,250. And all you need is a damn streamer and a pair of speakers. So this is a value. This is a value. I would carry this. I would sell this. Maybe I'll call Trent, This is something I could get behind. The other stuff, it's BS. This is a value. You just get the amp and it's standard which means it's got a preamp, it's got volume control. I wonder if it has a remote. It does have a remote, and it does have a tube cage that's optional. This thing kicks ass, okay? Applause to Audio Research for this piece. This is sweet. So, hey, what you have to be is you have to have somebody that can guide you. You know, if you go try and figure this shit out by yourself, you'll try and be the cool guy and be accepted in the audio circles on the forums, and you get yourself a Ref 750 and you're going to blow everyone's mind, but really you're the chump. You're the chump that bought a Ref 750, but you're going to be talking about, oh, I got it for 45 grand, and it doesn't matter. It's a chump's amplifier. Regardless, this thing here, this is kick-ass. This I would totally sell. I would sell. This would be the only piece, and I'd maybe look at the other stuff and see what the prices are and listen to it. Because as far as I remember, Audio Research was kind of a brand that sounded like solid state. I like tubes to sound like tubes. I like solid state to sound like solid state. So anyways, just wanted to let you know that it wasn't all bad. The Audio Research, that little guy is kick-ass. I don't think Manley makes one with 6550s. I like this design. This is a common design. It's been regurgitated a million times. The Chinese copy it. Everybody regurgitates this design. 4 vacuum tubes, 3 transformers in back, integrated. I did one, I think I even showed you guys pictures of it. I did one. So this is the sweet spot of Audio Research, is this piece right here. So anyways, wanted to take that time just to do a little audio autopsy, show you guys a little bit more so we can do a little deeper dig on where the values are in the industry. So thanks for joining. See ya.